Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question right up front. What would your life look like if you stopped scattering your energy everywhere and started directing it like a laser? Because here's the truth. You don't fail because of a lack of potential. You fail because of a lack of focus. And when you combine that focus with discipline, you become unstoppable. Let me ask you something right now. How much of your life have you already given away to distractions that didn't matter? Because here's the truth. Focus, the gateway to greatness, and without it, no amount of talent, no amount of intelligence, no amount of opportunity will ever be enough. The world is full of talented people who never became successful. Not because they didn't have ability, but because they couldn't stay locked in long enough to see results. Focus is not just about what you pay attention to, it's about what you're willing to ignore. It's about having the courage to say no to the good so you can say yes to the great. You've got to understand this. Life doesn't reward the scattered. Life rewards the focused. If you take sunlight and let it shine through a magnifying glass, that light becomes so concentrated, it can set a leaf on fire. But the same sunlight without focus won't even warm the leaf. That's the difference between a life that is powerful and a life that is wasted. The power is not in the light itself, it's in the focus of that light. And it's the same with your potential. You don't need more hours in the day, you need more focus in the hours you already have. Here's a hook you can't ignore. Your destiny will not compete for your attention. It's quietly waiting for you to eliminate distractions and lock in. The question is, what's stealing your focus right now? Maybe it's social media. Maybe it's people who don't share your vision. Maybe it's your own negative thinking. Whatever it is, understand this. The greatest enemy of your greatness is not failure. It's distraction. Failure can teach you, but distraction robs you silently without you even noticing until years have passed and opportunities have slipped away. Think about this. Every successful person you admire, every leader who transformed their field, every innovator who changed the game, they all mastered the art of focus. They didn't try to do everything. They picked one thing and gave it everything. Focus is what separates dabblers from masters. Dabblers scatter their energy in 10 different directions and wonder why nothing works. Masters channel all their energy into one path until the world has no choice but to notice. Now, here's something practical you can apply immediately. Write down your top 3 priorities for the next season of your life and ruthlessly eliminate everything that doesn't serve those priorities. If it doesn't move you closer to your goal, it's a distraction. And if you're serious about greatness, you can't afford it. Don't confuse movement with progress. A hamster runs all day in a wheel but never moves forward. Many people live like that. Busy, but not effective. Focus breaks you free from the wheel and puts you on the path. Let me give you another hook. Clarity is power. And focus creates clarity. When you know exactly where you're going, the noise around you loses its pull. You don't have time to argue with people who aren't moving in your direction. You don't have energy to waste on battles that don't build your future. Your focus becomes your filter. It decides what deserves your time, your energy, your investment. Without that filter, everything feels urgent, and you end up living by default instead of design. And here's the part most people miss. Focus is not just mental, it's spiritual. Whatever you magnify in your mind will multiply in your life. If you keep focusing on problems, you'll create more problems. If you keep focusing on possibilities, you'll open doors to solutions you never thought existed. Your focus determines your reality, And if you don't control your focus, the world will control it for you. Advertising, entertainment, negative people, bad habits, they're all fighting for your attention because attention is the most valuable currency in the world. Protect it with everything you have. So let me ask you again, what would happen if you stopped scattering your energy and started directing it like a laser? What dreams could you resurrect? What opportunities could you seize? What version of yourself could you finally become? The answer is already inside you, waiting for you to unlock it. And the key that unlocks it is focus. Everybody wants to live their dream, but very few are willing to pay the toll it takes to cross the bridge from where they are to where they want to be. That toll is called discipline. Dreams without discipline are nothing more than fantasies. They look good in your imagination. They sound good when you talk about them, but they never materialize into reality. Why? Because discipline is the currency that turns vision into victory. You don't get to skip discipline and expect destiny. The bridge has only one entrance, and it's guarded by consistency, sacrifice, and self-control. Here's the hook. Your dream doesn't care about your feelings. It responds to your discipline. Too many people wait to feel motivated before they act, but motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going when the excitement wears off. If you rely on feelings, you'll quit every time things get hard. But if you rely on discipline, you'll keep moving even when it's uncomfortable. Winners understand this discipline is not about what you feel in the moment. It's about who you want to become in the future. Think about it. Every champion you've ever admired, every successful business owner, every leader who built something extraordinary, they all had the same 24 hours you have. What made them different wasn't luck, wasn't talent alone, it was discipline. They got up when others hit snooze. They practiced when others made excuses. They stayed consistent when others quit. Discipline is what makes the ordinary extraordinary because it multiplies small daily actions into massive long-term results. Let me drop another hook for you. The gap between average and exceptional is not talent, it's discipline. Talent will get you noticed, but discipline will keep you successful. Plenty of talented people never reach greatness because they refuse to master themselves. Discipline is self-leadership. It's the ability to say no to the impulses that steal your progress and yes to the actions that secure your future. You cannot lead others if you cannot first lead yourself. And discipline is how you prove to yourself that you are trustworthy with your own destiny. Here's something practical. You've got to set standards higher than your feelings. Your feelings will change daily, but your standards must remain constant. If you only go to the gym when you feel like it, you'll never transform your body. If you only work on your business when you feel inspired, you'll never create real wealth. Discipline says, I do it whether I feel like it or not, because my commitment is stronger than my mood. That's how you build habits that shape your identity, and your identity is what ultimately shapes your destiny. Discipline is also a form of freedom. That may sound like a paradox, but it's the truth. The person who disciplines their finances is the one who experiences financial freedom. The person who disciplines their health is the one who experiences physical vitality. The person who disciplines their time is the one who experiences peace and productivity. Undisciplined people look free, but they're really trapped in debt, trapped in regret, trapped in cycles of mediocrity. Discipline may feel restrictive in the moment, but it liberates you in the future. Now, here's the real test. Can you discipline yourself when no one is watching? It's easy to perform when there's an audience, but discipline is measured in the dark. It's what you do when nobody claps, nobody celebrates, nobody notices. That's where greatness is born. And the truth is, if you cannot be trusted with discipline in private, you will never be trusted with success in public. Your private discipline sets the stage for your public destiny. So let me leave you with a piercing question. How badly do you want your dream? Do you want it enough to discipline your habits, your time, your money, your thoughts? Because the dream is real, but the bridge is discipline. And only those who are willing to walk across that bridge consistently will ever arrive at the life they were created to live. Let me ask you a question right now. How many dreams have died in your life? Not because you weren't capable, not because you didn't have the right idea, but because you let distractions steal your focus. Distraction doesn't come with an alarm bell. It doesn't announce itself like a storm. It sneaks in silently, little by little, pulling your attention away from what matters most. And before you even realize it, months turn into years, and your dream is still sitting on the shelf, untouched. Distraction is not loud, but it is lethal. It doesn't destroy your dream overnight. It kills it slowly by making sure it never get around to working on it. Here's a hook you can't ignore. Your dream doesn't get stolen. You give it away every time you surrender to distraction. Every time you say, I'll do it later, distraction wins. Every time you scroll instead of study, distraction wins. Every time you entertain drama instead of building discipline, distraction wins. And the truth is, most people are not defeated by lack of opportunity. They are defeated by the inability to master their attention. Think about this. Time is life. When you waste time, you're not just wasting minutes, you're wasting pieces of your life that you'll never get back. Every distraction you entertain is a piece of your future you are trading away. The problem is, distractions don't look dangerous. They often come disguised as entertainment, comfort, even urgency. You tell yourself, it's just 5 minutes, but 5 minutes multiplied by 1,000 distractions is a life unlived. The silent killers are always the hardest to detect, but their effect is devastating. Here's another hook. Distraction is the enemy of direction. You cannot move forward and sideways at the same time. You cannot chase your calling and chase every notification on your phone. You cannot pursue excellence while constantly entertaining mediocrity. Distraction will never look like a thief. It will look like an option. But every option that pulls you away from your purpose is robbing you blind. Successful people understand this secret. Their focus is their most valuable asset. They protect it like treasure. They turn off the noise. They say no to opportunities that don't align. They don't allow everyone access to their attention because they know that attention is the seed of achievement. Whatever you water with attention will grow. If you water distractions, you grow regret. If you water discipline, you grow destiny. And here's something practical. If you want to defeat distraction, you must design your environment to serve your vision. Don't rely on willpower alone, because willpower is limited. Structure your life so that distractions have less access to you. If social media wastes your time, set boundaries. If toxic people keep pulling you back, distance yourself. If negative thoughts distract your mind, fill it daily with affirmations, scripture, and wisdom. You can't just hope to beat distraction. You have to intentionally choke it out of your life. Let me remind you of this. Every distraction is a delay, and every delay compounds into lost destiny. The world is moving forward whether you do or not. Opportunities are passing by whether you're ready or not. And the sobering reality is this distraction doesn't just keep you from success, it keeps you from the person you were created to become. That's why it's a silent killer. It doesn't just rob your bank account, it robs your identity, your confidence, your faith in yourself. So let me ask you one last piercing question. How much longer will you allow distractions to hold your dream hostage? Because the moment you decide to break free from distraction, you reclaim your power. And the moment you reclaim your power, you reclaim your future. Let me start by asking you this. How many times have you started something with passion only to stop when the excitement faded? That's the story for most people. They start strong, but they don't stay long. The truth is, greatness doesn't belong to those who start the fastest. It belongs to those who stay the longest. Consistency is the difference maker. Consistency turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. You don't build momentum by showing up once. You build momentum by showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. Here's the hook. You don't need to be amazing to start, but you do need to start to be amazing. And once you start, you must keep going. Consistency is like pushing a heavy flywheel. At first, it feels like nothing is moving. The effort is high and the results are low. But if you keep pushing, little by little, the flywheel starts to turn. Push some more and it moves faster. Eventually, it spins so fast that it builds its own momentum. That's the power of consistency. It creates a force that starts working for you instead of against you. Think about this in your own life. Maybe you tried working out and quit after a week because you didn't see results. Maybe you started a business and gave up after a few setbacks because the profit didn't come fast enough. But here's the reality. Results don't show up immediately. Results show up eventually, and only for the consistent. Consistency is the bridge between effort and evidence. Without it, you'll always be stuck restarting, always at square one, never building the momentum that creates breakthrough. Let me give you another hook. You don't grow by intensity, you grow by consistency. Anybody can go hard for a day, but champions go steady for years. It's not about what you do occasionally, it's about what you do repeatedly. That's why habits are so powerful. Your life right now is the result of what you've been consistently doing, not what you did once in a while. If you want to change your future, don't change your intentions, change your daily actions. Consistency also creates credibility. People don't trust what you say, they trust what you consistently do. If you keep quitting on yourself, why should life trust you with success? But if you keep showing up, even in the small things, life will reward you. Opportunities come to those who have proven through consistency that they can be trusted. Every act of consistency is a deposit into your future. One deposit doesn't make you wealthy, but enough deposits compounded over time will make you rich. Here's something practical. Make consistency your identity, not just your activity. Don't just say, I'm going to work out. Say, I am a disciplined person. Don't just say, I'm going to work on my business. Say, I am a builder of wealth. When consistency becomes who you are, it will automatically flow into what you do. And when what you do lines up with who you are, momentum becomes unstoppable. Another hook you need to grab is this. Consistency will always beat intensity over time. The person who walks a mile every day will outlast the person who runs 10 miles once and quits. Small, steady actions compound into massive impact. Momentum doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you refuse to stop doing. And the moment you stop, momentum doesn't freeze, it reverses. That's why inconsistency is so costly. Every time you quit, you're not just pausing your progress, You're resetting it. So the question is, are you willing to be consistent long enough to see your breakthrough? Because momentum is waiting on the other side of consistency. Once you have it, it carries you forward faster than effort alone ever could. But the price is persistence. The world doesn't reward those who quit halfway. It rewards those who refuse to quit at all. And if you will be consistent, momentum will make sure your dream is no longer just possible. It becomes inevitable. Let me ask you something. What's keeping you from living the life you were created to live? Most people think it's a lack of opportunity or a lack of resources, but that's not the real answer. The real reason is a lack of discipline. Discipline is not just about rules or restrictions. It's about protection. Discipline protects your purpose from being wasted, diluted, or destroyed by distractions, temptations, and impulses. If your purpose is the vehicle that carries you to destiny, then discipline is the guardrail that keeps you from crashing along the way. Here's the hook: without discipline, purpose turns into potential never realized. Purpose by itself is fragile. It's like a seed that can grow into a mighty tree, but only if it's planted in the right soil and protected from weeds. Discipline is the fence that guards the seed of your purpose until it's strong enough to withstand the storms of life. Without it, the weeds of distraction, procrastination, and bad habits will choke your purpose until it suffocates. Think about it. How many brilliant people have you seen fail, not because they lack vision, but because they lack discipline? They had the idea, the talent, the opportunity, but they couldn't stay away from destructive habits. They couldn't say no to the wrong people. They couldn't control their time, their money, or their emotions. And so their purpose died in the soil of undisciplined living. Talent without discipline is tragedy waiting to happen. Vision without discipline is vapor. It disappears before it ever becomes reality. Here's another hook. Discipline doesn't take from you, it saves you. It saves you from wasting years of your life on things that don't matter. It saves you from sabotaging your own progress. It saves you from regret. People think discipline is hard, but regret is much harder. Discipline might cost you in the short term, but it protects you from the heavy price of wasted time, broken trust, and lost opportunities in the long term. Consider this in practical terms. When you discipline your time, you protect your purpose from being buried under business. When you discipline your money, you protect your purpose from being hijacked by debt and financial stress. When you discipline your body, you protect your purpose from being cut short by poor health. Every area you discipline is an area where you fortify your ability to carry out your calling. Discipline isn't about deprivation, it's about preservation. It preserves the energy, clarity, and focus you need to fulfill what you were born to do. Another hook worth remembering is this: discipline is proof of honor. When you discipline yourself, you are showing honor to your God-given purpose. You're saying, I take my calling seriously. I respect the gift I've been given too much to waste it. Undisciplined people dishonor their purpose because they treat it carelessly. But when you build discipline, you send a message to yourself and to the world that your purpose is valuable. And valuable things deserve to be protected. And here's the truth most people miss: discipline doesn't limit your freedom, it secures it. A person who disciplines their choices is free to pursue their purpose without chains. But a person without discipline becomes a prisoner to impulses, distractions, and temptations. They look free, but they're not. They're enslaved to every craving, every shiny object, every short-term pleasure. Real freedom comes when you can say no to what doesn't serve you and yes to what aligns with your destiny. Discipline is the key that unlocks that freedom. So here's the question: how much longer are you willing to leave your purpose unprotected? Because the reality is, your purpose is too valuable to be exposed to the chaos of an undisciplined life. If you will embrace discipline, it will guard your vision, shield your potential, and preserve your destiny until it comes to full fruition. Let me ask you something. What would your life look like if you could combine laser focus with unshakable discipline? Because the truth is, focus by itself is powerful, and discipline by itself is life-changing. But when you bring them together, they don't just add up, they multiply. Focus gives you direction, discipline gives you consistency, but together they create transformation. Transformation doesn't come from wishing, hoping, or even dreaming. It comes from aligning focus and discipline until your actions are no longer scattered, but strategic. Here's a hook you need to hold on to. Focus without discipline is a plan without execution, and discipline without focus is effort without direction. One without the other will leave you frustrated. If you're focused but lack discipline, you'll know where you want to go, but you won't have the habits to get there. If you're disciplined but lack focus, you'll work hard but keep running in circles. But when focus and discipline come together, you get clarity plus consistency, and that combination always produces change. Think about this. Focus is the compass, discipline is the engine. The compass points you to your destination, but without the engine, you'll never move. The engine keeps you moving, but without the compass, you'll end up lost. You need both. The reason so many people never transform their lives is because they're trying to operate with one and not the other. They're motivated but inconsistent, or they're consistent but misdirected. That's why transformation doesn't happen. Transformation requires both alignment and action, both vision and repetition. Here's another hook. Your dream will never bow to your intention. It only bows to your execution. Focus tells you what to execute. Discipline makes sure you execute it daily, and the combination of those two rewrites your life. The student who focuses on their studies but disciplines themselves to review daily becomes the expert. The entrepreneur who focuses on one vision but disciplines themselves to work on it consistently builds an empire. The athlete who focuses on their craft and disciplines their training becomes a champion. In every field, in every success story, you'll find this formula at work. Focus plus discipline equals transformation. Now here's something practical. Pick the one area of your life you want to transform and write down the exact focus for that area. Then create one disciplined habit that aligns with that focus. Don't try to change everything at once, because transformation doesn't come from scattered effort. It comes from consistent alignment. If your focus is financial freedom, then discipline yourself to save and invest consistently. If your focus is health, then discipline yourself to exercise and eat with purpose. Transformation isn't about intensity for 1 week. It's about consistency for a lifetime. Another hook that will change your perspective is this. Transformation doesn't happen the day you decide. It happens the days you don't quit. Focus and discipline won't give you instant results, but they will give you inevitable results. If you stay focused long enough and disciplined long enough, transformation has no choice but to appear. It may take months, it may take years, but the outcome is guaranteed. The soil cannot resist the seed if the seed is watered consistently. Your life cannot resist change if you feed it focus and discipline daily. And here's the deeper truth. Transformation is not just about what you achieve, it's about who you become. Focus shapes your vision of the future, and discipline shapes your identity in the present. When you align them, you don't just reach your goals, you evolve into the kind of person who naturally produces results. That's the ultimate transformation. Not just doing more, but becoming more. And once you become more, you'll attract more, create more, and inspire more. So the question is, are you willing to pay the price of focus and discipline so you can experience the reward of transformation? Because the life you want, the destiny you dream of, the version of you that you know exists on the inside, it's all waiting. And the key that unlocks it is the powerful union of focus and discipline.